Hello, everyone. So I'm seeing that people are starting to join our webinar. We have a lot of participants who are trying to join. So we're just going to wait a couple of minutes for everyone to be able to attend. And we're just going to start in a couple of seconds. So welcome everyone to ICG, and our webinar topic today is AI and robotics in the healthcare sector. We're going to dive deep into how to integrate and adapt these new technologies for maximum benefits in healthcare. I will not be delivering the webinar. Dr. Mu'taz will be delivering the webinar, but we will start with a small introduction about ICG, and then we will proceed. Okay, so just to be sure that everyone can hear us and everyone can see the screen, can you please raise your hand? Just click on the button below to raise your hand. So I just make sure that everyone is listening. Well, that's amazing. We have a lot of people who are engaging with us. Okay, if you have any question, you can always ask your questions in the chats below. And Dr. Mu'taz will be happy to answer your questions during the webinar, or if not during the webinar, if the question needs a lot of explanations, he will be happy to answer your questions at the end of the webinar. So there is a chance we can always communicate. Our team will always be available in the chat section with you to reply to all your inquiries. So let's start. Let me first of all introduce ICG and what we do. So we're just gonna move the slides to the next slide. And okay, ICG, so we're the Innovation Consulting Group. Our main goal is to enable transformational growth. First of all, we're a Saudi consulting company, and we use our global expertise and international practices in enabling transformational growth. In other words, what we do is that we set an end-to-end consulting service, and we do also organizational development, skills enablement, and digital services within the digital transformation capability building. We help businesses actually achieve their transformational growth by giving them the solutions they need and by building the cutting-edge digital capabilities to achieve this goal. And of course, we partner with the most promising technology vendors, industry organizations, and highly recognized experts from all over the world in order to achieve this transformational growth and change the dynamics in multiple sectors. Okay, so now we're gonna dive into our purpose. Our purpose at ICG is to create an end-to-end transformation journey for our partner by customizing their solutions. When we talk about customization, is that if we're working with the healthcare sector, we will customize this solution for the healthcare sector. We have three main pillars. We work on the people, we work on with the technologies, and we help on setting the processes. So first of all, we help these businesses in multiple sectors, and especially in healthcare and other also sectors, to invest in the right market, in the right skills and technologies, and to invest in their people. And when we say to invest in people, is that we help them train their employees, train and upskill and reskill, and always maintain our employees ahead of the new technologies and trends. We also help businesses change and unlock their agility and innovation in order to create this added value in their industry. And lastly, we help businesses grow by optimizing the business transformational process, the technology, and enabling the skills for the team members. And now, this was a quick introduction about ICG. Of course, if you need more details, you can always reach out to us on our website or on our social media platforms. And now let's get to know our subject matter expert. And today, Dr. Mu'taz Al-Dibi will be with us. He will be delivering the webinar. Dr. Mu'taz is a distinguished leader and innovator in AI and emerging technologies. He has more than 24 years of experience in the AI sector, and he has a PhD in information system and computing from Brunel University in London. Dr. Mu'taz is now actually the head of AI and emerging technologies at ICG, and he works in the field, and he has his expertise in AI, in big data, in business analysis, in data science, in IoT, in blockchain, virtual reality, and robotics. So, Dr. Mu'taz, we are so happy that you are here with us today. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. And we're so excited to just kick in and just hear all the insights and everything that you have prepared for us.
All right. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for the great introduction. Today I'm so excited to talk about AI and robotics, especially that we are tackling this topic for a very interesting and important domain. What's more important than people's lives? So nowadays, when we talk about these emerging technologies, whether we are tackling artificial intelligence, machine learning, virtual reality, 3D printing, or any other digital transformation technology or emerging technology, it's very important to tackle it for the right purpose. And I believe that healthcare is very important, given that the potential is very appealing. We can utilize AI in order to make sure that we can extend the lifetime of people, and also we can provide them with the right care. We can also save lives by the right utilization of AI and robotics within the healthcare sector. We will dig deeper to cover also the main challenges that are faced by the healthcare sector and how AI and robotics can help in mitigating or removing such barriers or challenges faced by the healthcare sector. We will also try to bring it into life and to make it more practical session for all of you. So we will discuss different use cases and applications of AI in healthcare. Then we will focus more on these use cases and applications related to robotics. And afterwards, we will also discuss the utilization of RPA, which is robotics process automation, the software part of robotics, and its utilization and deployment within the healthcare sector. Finally, I will summarize how AI can be integrated and adopted by the health sector to maximize the potential outcomes and benefits. And at the end of the session, also we will discuss some practical steps that for the integration of AI in healthcare. Also, we will provide you with some sort of adaptive strategies for implementation. This is not in terms of recipe, because I don't believe that there is one size fits all. I believe that we can provide you with some guidelines that would help you to enhance the probability of success whenever you are encountered with the implementation of AI in the healthcare, and what kind of expected benefits and business value the healthcare professionals can get when AI is integrated in their own workplace. At the end of our webinar, we will try to explore and to anticipate the developments, the research and developments, and the innovations that might happen within the health care sector in the domain of AI and robotics. We will end this webinar by listening to your questions and trying to respond to each and every one of these questions. Also, we are happy to schedule a one-to-one meeting or a consultation meeting with any one of you after this webinar. All right. So at the beginning, before digging deeper into the applications of AI in healthcare, I would like just to give a brief introduction about AI, machine learning, and deep learning. There are many concepts that are used interchangeably nowadays. So many people, they are referring to AI to refer to different things. And it means different things to different people, and people sometimes they look at it from different angles and from different perspective. For me, and based on my expertise, I believe that AI is anything that would mimic human thinking or human behavior. So if we are trying to make a machine, whether this machine is a electromechanical robot, whether it's a computer, whether it's software algorithm, to be able to learn from data, to take decisions independently or with little involvement of people, to be able to have robots that can deliver a drug from one place to another within the hospital. So to be able to automate a business process to be handled automatically by intelligent agents, by robotics process automation, instead of humans, that would be some sort of AI. The AI starts even from the expert systems that we were discussing in the 1990s, 80s, and the early 2000s, when we were talking about rule-based programming. Even rule-based programming that are mainly based on if-then statements and case statements, they were the first version of AI because the main objectives of these applications and systems were to mimic and to imitate human thinking and human behavior. So it's a very generic concepts. Within this concept, there's a subset or many subsets. One of them is machine learning. Machine learning is a subset and one domain within the AI that is mainly concerned by developing algorithms that those having the ability to learn and to continue learning from data. So we feed them with historical data, we train them, we test them to make sure that they are precise, they are accurate to make future predictions with confidence and precision, and also they have the ability to provide us with predictions related to the future so as to become more proactive in the way we are doing things. So it's good to be reactive with the confidence, but it's even better to become a proactive with high confidence and high level of precision. So machine learning is more about predictive modeling, more about identifying patterns and supporting decision making. And this is one of the major and important subsets of AI. Even a subset from a machine learning is called deep learning. And nowadays we hear a lot of applications related to deep learning, especially when it comes to healthcare. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning that is mainly utilized one type of algorithms of machine learning, which is a neural network. So we build a multi-layer neural networks for one purpose. That purpose could be image processing, like for example, text analysis. It could be also video analytics. So usually deep learning is utilizing the multi-layer neural network and mainly is concerned with the analytics of multimedia data, usually in the shape of video, audio, or images. So here we refer to it as deep learning, and it utilized, as I mentioned earlier, a multi-layer neural network, which is one type of algorithms that belongs to a machine learning as well. So the AI is the big concept. Within AI, there's a subset called machine learning, and there is a subset of machine learning which is a deep learning. So anything within this array, we can refer to it as AI, that given that the AI is the umbrella term that contains all these other terms underneath. Now, after starting with this introduction about what is AI, machine learning, and deep learning, and trying just to provide enhanced clarity about these concepts to each and every one from the audience, nowadays we are looking forward to integrate and to adopt AI and robotics within healthcare. So the question is, where to start, how we can utilize the AI and robotics to enhance the patient care, to enhance the business processes, make them more streamlined, more efficient, and also maybe we can change the healthcare practices. Maybe we can add to it. We can make it more effective. We can save lives. We can make it more precise and more accurate. How we can add this value to the healthcare through the integration of AI? These kind of questions, they have potentials. So nobody would care about that if there is no potential. Theoretically speaking, that started maybe 30, 40 years ago. But now we can have practical use cases, practical applications, and they are already available within different like clinics, different hospitals, and I will refer to that throughout the presentation. So let's look at the challenges that can be addressed by AI in the healthcare domain. And our main purpose, as I mentioned earlier, we are looking at three main concepts or three main objectives to be achieved within the healthcare. We need to improve the patient care. We need to be more patient-centric, hospitals and the clinics. The second one, how we can streamline operations, how we can make our business processes more efficient, how we can reduce costs when it comes to business processes. That at the end of the day has its own reflection on the bill that will be paid by the patient, and also would make it more affordable to each and every one. So nowadays, many people, they don't get the right treatment because they cannot afford it. If we can make the business processes and the operations more efficient, that means it would be more affordable by more people. And the last thing that we will look at, how we can innovate within the healthcare, how we can redefine our practices in order to make it more effective, more successful. We can achieve our own objectives in a more optimized manner. So the challenges that are faced by the healthcare sector right now, based on our understanding, are diverse. First of all, I will look at the diagnostic accuracy. This is one major thing when it comes to healthcare. If you are improperly diagnosed, you will get improper treatment. And at the end of the day, the best thing that would happen to you that there will be no additional negative consequences more than the illness that you are facing or suffering from. But sometimes that would lead you to death if there is misdiagnosis of any sort of actions that have been done to you based on the misdiagnosis. So enhancing the diagnostic accuracy is one major thing. By the way, there are no reported like statistics and percentages about the number of deaths resulted from misdiagnosis. But I have done my own research. I believe that the figure that's reported by the United States is about 10%. So 10% of the deaths will be resulted from the misdiagnosis happening within the clinics or the hospitals. And this is a big number. If we can reduce it, that means that we can save more lives. Just imagine that. In KSA, in Saudi Arabia, there is no public figure that we can refer to, but we can tell that for many contagious diseases and chronic diseases, sometimes there is at the early stages, there will be some sort of misdiagnosis that will affect the kind of treatment, also the recovery times of these patients, and the stays at the hospital. So the number of days that they can stay at the hospital. And all of these KPIs are very important to anyone working within the healthcare sector. So we always looking to minimize or to reduce the number of days or that patients would stay in the hospital. We're always trying to reduce the rates of misdiagnosis, and also we are aiming to shorten the recovery time of our patients. The second thing, which is also important, and I'll try to be a bit faster now, given that we are covering many aspects within this webinar, and I'm trying to use the time wisely, is the ability to manage the data related to the patients in a very effective manner. And this is here we talk about interoperability and standardization, how we can exchange data across different healthcare sectors in different countries or across hospitals or clinics in a very seamless manner, in a way that could be understood, integrated easily and quickly for advanced analytics. If we cannot exchange data due to lack of standardization or lack of interoperability. That would be a big problem, especially when it comes to predictive analytics and identifying patterns, and also learning from the past in order to enhance our prediction accuracy. There are many other aspects related to, for example, collecting data from trial clinical data, from the literature, from the patient themselves about the lifestyle, about their own genetics, previous history, their own previous historical data when it comes to the healthcare sector. All these data would be collected, whether they are internal or external, to be analyzed in a proper way to give a personalized treatment. So instead of having just a mass treatment, so we have in one treatment for one disease without taking into consideration the factors related to the patient, the factors related to their genetics, the factors related to their lifestyle, I believe that the outcome will be not that successful. We have to move from that mass treatment to personalized treatment, take into consideration all the factors that I have mentioned earlier. I will also mention things related to security and privacy. Nowadays, the HIPAA and GDPR and different compliance and regulatory framework are there to make sure that we are dealing with the data related to our patients in a very confidential, very private manner. And the data is stored and exchanged, communicated in a very secured manner. So we have to give a security importance, a very high level of importance from the design phase, and then data at rest or data in motion should be communicated or stored in a very secured manner, and making sure that only those with the right privilege can disclose any personalized or private data related to our patients. These are some of the challenges. The rest are listed in this slide. If I go deeper into each and every one of them, I think, and I will spend the whole hour. So I will touch upon each and every one of them in the coming slides where appropriate and where convenient. All right. So now let's get into the how to answer the question how these challenges that we have mentioned and looked at, how these challenges or some of these challenges can be addressed by the utilization of AI and robotics. And here we're focusing more into the AI contributions to the mitigation of these challenges or to overcome these challenges. The first one that I find it very, very interesting and very appealing is about the diagnosis and imaging, and this is mainly related to the radiology. Whenever we get some X-rays like scans or CT scans or different kinds of imaging within the healthcare sector, sometimes we try now to have the diagnosis of these images and the scans that we get done automatically through the AI in order to enhance the accuracy and also to make it more efficient and more accurate. This is nowadays usually done using the human interventions by the medical doctors. They look at this image and they try to read it based on their experience, based on their knowledge, and also based on what they can see on that image. So any human intervention or human action is affected by many other factors. So, for example, whether the medical doctor was in a good mood or not, has he slept enough the day before or not, is he in a pressure on time or not? All these kind of factors would affect the kind of diagnosis, especially when it comes to imaging. Sometimes they can make mistakes by just misreading or trying to read these images or to understand things appearing in those scans, CT scans, the X-rays in a very quick manner. So we're trying to make it more accurate and more precise by utilizing AI to do that automatically. And the validation, the verification of the results of AI will be done by the medical doctor. So we're reducing time, making it more efficient, more seamless, and also we're having a validation and a verification from the medical doctors themselves to make sure that the results of the AI algorithm are accurate and correct. I'll give you two use cases to explore that. For example, if you the Google's DeepMind Health, it's a project by Google for the to analyze the retinal scans. They try to analyze retinal scans in order to make sure they can identify any potential eye diseases at early stages. So, such as, for example, diabetic retinopathy, these kind of diseases that might occur because of diabetes. They can do it using just analyzing the retinal scans of the eye, and this is now happening by Google's DeepMind Health, and it's a very, very promising project. The second one, which is also important, given that it's more about the oncology and things related to the cancer treatment. One of the major and the main contributors to the AI in this domain is IBM Watson. It's an engineered system, hardware and software that works together, and it's utilized for oncology to analyze diverse sets of data, such as the medical literature, and also the clinical trial data, the patient's data, molecular data. All these kinds of data will be ingested, integrated into one data store, such as a data lake, which is part of the big data, in order to be analyzed, to personalize the cancer treatment options, and to look at which one of them would likely have a more positive impact on the patients themselves. And this is also a project that is developed and utilized and ready to be used, and also offered by IBM Watson, especially for oncologists. The second one is the predictive analytics. And as you know, predictive analytics is more future-oriented types of analytics that would require accumulating large amounts of internal external data and historical data. And it's mainly based on the machine learning, building different machine learning algorithms to predict future states. And in this one, we can make early detections of diseases. We can also identify patients at risks of severe illness. We can also identify the best or predict the best treatment and the dose and the type of treatment for each and every case of patients. All these kind of use cases can be built using predictive analytics. And also the Mayo clinics, for example, they have adopted and used predictive analytics successfully. And in one of the most exciting use cases, they try to identify those patients that they have or at risk of developing severe illness. So they try to predict them to be proactive, to do more proactive interventions, and also to be able to optimize their own resources. So now Mayo Clinics is a reference when it comes to predictive analytics. They have done a lot of research and developments, innovations, training for their own medical doctors in different areas, not only the predictive analytics, but also the robotics as well. I will mention that later on. But this one was great to be able to predict any patient who might be at risk of developing severe illness later on, and to be able to intervene at the right time proactively, and also to optimize your resources and to know exactly what to do beforehand. Personalized medicine is another area which is also important. As I mentioned earlier, taking the personal factors into consideration when analyzing the data, and also when we are predicting or recommending what kind of medicine or treatment should be done to each and every patient is important. For example, the lifestyle of that patient is important. Genetics of each and every patient is important. Historical medical records and historical for the family, for the extended family, to understand if anything can be as a part of taken from their parents or grandparents should be taken into consideration. If all of these data collected, integrated, and then analyzed, then we can provide the best recommendation using AI about what kind of treatment options, what kind of doses should be given to each and every patient. And here we are moving from mass treatment to certain disease into personalized treatment. Even if we have like more than one person suffering from the same disease, we might give different treatments with different doses to these different patients based on the factors that I have mentioned earlier. One of the important like solutions for that was offered by IBM Watson as well. It's mainly about the genomic analytics. And here the genomic analytics, by the way, genomic is the medical model that separates people in different groups based on their medical decisions, and also based on their predicted medical response and the predicted risk of disease. So they are taking three factors into consideration: the medical decisions, the predicted medical response, and the predicted risk of disease, in order to personalize what kind of treatment, to give different options of treatment and different doses of treatment, and to provide to have such a solid and powerful recommendation engine when it comes to healthcare. So this is also one area where we can add value using AI in healthcare. The fourth one that I'll talk about also is natural language processing. And here I'll integrate NLP also with large language models such as ChatGPT, Googlebot, all these kinds of GPTs like generative pre-trained programs, the large language models. They all utilize really very sophisticated models in order to transcribe first, to do transcription for any kind of like clinical conversations that happens between the different doctors when they are on the round, or when they are conducting a certain surgery, or when they are diagnosing a certain illness for a certain patient. All these kind of conversations can be transcribed, can be refined, codified, and also stored, so making some sort of knowledge codification and knowledge repository for all other medical doctors. Maybe those juniors would like to learn from the experiences of others. They can share that data, they can utilize it, and they can build their own large language model to be able to refer to it whenever you are encountering like different medical cases or different kind of surgeries that you might be going to do. So you can get all the details, and that would work as your own virtual assistants using the natural language processing. Nowadays, the Dragon Medical One is one of the examples, one of the cases that can be utilized to transcribe and document all the conversations happening between the medical doctors, the nurses within the medical centers, the clinics and the hospitals, and also will integrate and codify all that data. On top of that, that knowledge repository, we can have a search engine, Google-like search engine, where you just search for different sort of information and you get them right away from there. Codifying these kind of tacit knowledge that sticks to the minds and the brains of these medical doctors is very important. If we can collect and also codify, store these kind of details, that would be of a great value to share knowledge across the healthcare sector and the healthcare professionals. The fourth one that I will talk about also is the virtual healthcare assistants. Sometimes we refer to it as digital assistants or chatbots, but in the professional manner, I would prefer to refer to it as a digital assistant. Here we can have a virtual digital assistant for patients that would work to streamline their appointments, to do the follow-up, to provide them with the reminders about their medications or about their visits, to reduce the number of no-show rates. The number of no-show rates at the clinics or medical centers is one of the major KPIs, and all of them, they're trying to reduce it. utilizing such virtual healthcare assistants will, with the right appointment scheduling, the reminders, the follow-ups, would reduce the no-show rate as well. Also, here I will talk a little bit about one of the case studies, which is Ada Health's AI-powered chatbot, through which the patients, they can get some medical advices. They can also write their own symptoms if they are having certain symptoms, and the AI system can do the diagnosis for them and can recommend the next action to be done by each and every one of them. Through that chat, what we can do the triage to split these patients into like the different types and to tell them exactly what to do next. And also to enhance the engagement of our patients with the healthcare sector remotely. So we can bridge the geographical differences. We can serve the unserved people in the remote areas by having such a virtual assistance, not only for communicating, not only for providing passive information, but also to be able to have a live conversation, to be able to recommend some sort of actions to be done by patients, to be able to diagnose based on the symptoms provided by the patients, and also to be able to do the remote triage. All these kind of actions can be done by the virtual health assistants. Now let's dig into the applications of robotics in healthcare. So nowadays, or beforehand, I talked about the AI in general and the machine learning, different use cases, different applications, and different venues where we can invest and where we can do more research, where we can innovate to enhance and to get the maximum benefit and value out of AI. In this section, I will place a focus on the applications of electromechanical robots in healthcare, and to show how we can utilize them, in which for what purposes, what are the main use cases for these robotics or robots. The first one and the most important one is the surgical robot. I believe that most of the people working in the healthcare sector, and especially those attending now our webinar, they have heard about Da Vinci surgical system. Da Vinci is making a revolution nowadays in the healthcare. There are so many surgeries that have been conducted using Da Vinci. Da Vinci is a electromechanical robot operated by a surgeon that would help to make any surgery more precise, more accurate. It's evidence now that the stays at hospital will be shorter, the recovery time will be shorter whenever we are using Da Vinci. This is related because the cuts made by the Da Vinci whenever we are making surgeries are very tiny, very small in comparison to the ones done by the human surgeons. So that would reduce the recovery time. That would make the surgery more accurate, more precise, more targeted to the place where we want to do the surgery in, and thus the recovery time and the number of days that the patient would stay in the hospital will be also significantly reduced. And other kind of uses for Da Vinci will be for suturing the thin skin. There are different layers of skin, and sometimes the surgeon they need to suture some sort of areas with the thin skin. The best surgeon in the world might do it in a completely different like levels from 1 to 10, based on their temper, based on their like the number of hours that they have, whether they are in a good mood or in a bad mood, the time spent within the surgery itself. All these kind of factors would affect the proficiency of the suturing. So whenever we go into the Da Vinci, they will have a standard of suturing, which is the best standard that can do that kind of tiny, precise, and accurate kind of actions within the surgeries themselves. So there are multiple uses for the robots within the healthcare, and the most one is the surgical robots. Nowadays, for example, in the Middle East, even in Jordan, in the last couple of months, we had like two surgeries that happening with the assistance of Da Vinci. The first one was for the knee replacement, and the second one was for vertebral column. Also for the vertebral column, they were doing some very precise and accurate surgery. You know, the spiral cord and the spinal cord and the vertebral column. These are very sensitive places of the body of the human. So the Da Vinci helped them doing a very successful surgery with a very short recovery time for such major and invasive procedure. So these are some sorts of use cases and applications of the surgical robots. Robots also can be utilized in telepresence robots, like for remote patient monitoring, consultation, especially for elderly people, those having no one around them. We can utilize robots to monitor them, to do some sort of actions, to help them in their own mobility, moving from one place to another, and also to measure some sort of viral signs and to send that data in real time to the consultants, and might initiate a call with the consultant to do a certain action or to call an ambulance, for example. There are rehabilitation robots. These kinds of robots, they are mainly utilized to help the patients, the post-stroke patients, for example, and the patients who has done any kind of surgery with the spinal cord. They help them to do the rehabilitation in their own movement, in their own mobility, and also to do some sort of therapies sometimes with the utilization of these robots. There are some robots utilized within the hospitals or the clinical centers for dispensing drugs and treatments from one place into another, so they can hand in or transport or move the treatment or bringing the treatment from the one place to another, reducing the workload on the healthcare professionals and the workforce of the healthcare in general, by having a helping hand as a robot, just dispensing and delivering the drugs and medicines and the medications required from one place to another within the hospital. So they can be a helping hand, and they can also do that automatically based on timing, based on location, or based on a certain trigger, which are the readings of the viral signs of a certain patient. So we can do that in multiple ways. We can trigger the action of these robots based on different conditions, whether time-based conditions, real-time data readings conditions, or like location conditions. There are multiple conditions that can trigger the actions to be done by these kind of robots that would work as a helping hand within the healthcare sector. Now, I will talk about the third part of AI that we have focused on this webinar, which is the applications of RPA in healthcare. I'll give, first of all, a general introduction about RPA, and I'll try to move quickly into these use cases because they have the same sort of scenario of building like a software robot that can do actions usually done by humans, and they can make decisions sometimes, despite the fact that sometimes in the RPA we can have a human in the loop. So some sort of actions can be done by a software system called the Robotics Process Automation. From its name, it's more about optimizing and making the business processes done automatically by robots instead of having any kind of intervention with the user by humans and by the workforce in the medical sector, especially when it comes to data entry, data validation, data collection, these kinds of actions that usually are prone to human errors. And we face many challenges in the data quality because of the errors happening in the data entry, for example. So the most of the tasks that are eligible to be good candidates for robotics process automation are the repetitive, simple tasks. So repetitive tasks that require human intervention. I'll give you many examples, and also I will mention quickly the main benefits that we can get out of that. For example, the appointment scheduling, can be done autonomously by RPA without any human intervention. The billing also can be done autonomously by RPA without any human intervention. The claims processing. These kinds of administrative tasks, if we are automating them and making them done automatically without or with little human intervention using the technology of RPA, such as UiPath or Automation Anywhere or APN or any other software vendor, we can get many business benefits, such as we are reducing the number of errors because there is no human intervention. It has been done autonomously by a software agent. We can improve the accuracy of the data collected or data ingested or data validated or bills issued or claims that are processed. And we are reducing the workload on the workforce of the healthcare, giving them more time to focus on what matters, giving them more time to do other actions related to their own creativity, innovation, or utilizing their time in the right manner, not in doing repetitive, simple, frequent actions each now and then and over time. Things related to data entry and validation, can be done autonomously by RPA without any human intervention at any point of time. For example, this is now here the robot will work 24/7, and even the productivity will be higher. The number of errors would be lower, and also the number of processed transactions per time will be also higher. The quality of the data will be higher because we are relying on data in our decision making practices. So the data has to be of high quality. The third aspect where we can utilize also RPA's insurance claims processing. And here, this sometimes takes a lot of time. If it's done manually by some of the workforce within the healthcare sector, and sometimes there are frauds happening within the claims processing. So we can utilize AI to make sure, or to detect any fraudulent transactions. And this is happened, by the way, in one of the European countries. They utilized AI to detect fraudulent claims coming from their own medical practitioners. And by the way, they could save more than 1 million per year just because of detecting fraudulent claims and fraudulent invoices and bills coming from different entities and different stakeholders. So this is something important. We can utilize AI to make it more effective, to detect any fraudulent transactions, and also to reduce the time needed to do some sort of processing, especially between different entities and different players within the ecosystem of healthcare. The fourth area, we can utilize the RPA along with the virtual assistants to set the appointments for different patients, to do the scheduling, the optimization of the scheduling, to do the reminders and the follow-up, to also to reduce the rate of no-show rate at the hospitals or the medical centers or clinics. The fifth area is very administrative, related to things related to HR, like onboarding, processing the payroll, compliance reporting. All these kind of actions can be done autonomously by AI robots, software robots, using the RPA technology. The supply chain management, also all these kinds related to order processing, related to the medications, the drugs, and the equipment needs by the hospitals or the clinics, can be all automated across the supply chain players and this ecosystem. All that can be done using the RPA technology. So we could gain better resource utilization. We can make sure that we don't increase the number of wastage, but instead of that, we are reducing the wastage, and we are improving the efficiency within the supply chain. So mainly, RPA is utilized to reduce cost of operations, to make sure that business processes are streamlined, are done at any point of time. They are triggered and completed autonomously without or with little human intervention, given that RPA technology would allow, in some cases, to process, like, for example, if the process has 9 steps, the first 3 steps they can be done and the AI can make the decisions themselves based on certain rules. And then there's a decision to be done by a medical doctor. And then from 5 to 9, the steps can be completed by the AI. So we can have a human in the loop. We can have some steps conducted or processed by the RPA robot, and then the human to take a certain action and to complete the cycle using another robot or the same robot. So we can have also human the robot. There are different business models and different models, different scenarios where RPA can be deployed and deployed within the healthcare sector. It's very exciting technology, and the main objective of this technology is related to optimizing, streamlining business processes. Other areas where we can utilize this RPA is also related to patient data migration integration, especially when we are migrating from like legacy EHR into a modern EHR. All these kind of data migration can be conducted using RPA. Definitely, we're going to make sure that we are migrating to a new system, but we don't want to lose any of our data. So the migration and the validation of the migration can be conducted also using robotics process automation technology. The last one that I have already mentioned maybe earlier, I have spent some time on it, related to revenue cycle management, starting from the billing cycle, billing errors, frauds in the claims. This is also could be part of the billing cycle management. All these things related to the financials and all the actions that sometimes we spent plenty of time trying to make sure that we are doing them in the right way, and we are not missing any kind of financial detail that might affect our profitability. Our cost structure is important. Nowadays, we can do it faster. We can do it also in a more accurate, more precise manner, thanks to RPA technology. One of the major areas, and I think this is the last domain where we can utilize RPA within the healthcare, is related to compliance monitoring. Nowadays, the regulatory bodies such as HIPAA, GDPR, they require some sort of reporting to make sure that each of the clinical centers of the medical sectors, the clinics and the hospitals, they adhere to the regulations set by HIPAA or set by GDPR or any other regulatory framework in your own country. So to make sure that you can do the reporting on time, to avoid any penalties, and to make sure that you are reporting accurate data, we are utilizing also RPA to have that done autonomously with little or no human intervention, and to be done on time to avoid any penalties, and also to be very transparent with such regulatory framework and regulatory bodies. So also one more area is related to patient registration and verification. The patients, sometimes they are spending a lot of time just to get their own details, to get their own data, to link that data with the medical record, if you have any kind of medical record, or to get that medical details from any other entity, thanks to the ability to exchange data across different hospitals, if it's available in building the ecosystem. Having that, the onboarding and the registration of the patients, getting all the details, all that can be done using also the RPA. And also it can be augmented by having, for example, an IoT. For example, we can have like the rings or the bracelets, and we can have the IoT devices that can share that data directly with your EHR, and the RPA can get the data, process the data, store it, and do the required action, even without any human intervention. Just imagine how easy is that. If somebody, they might lose consciousness, and if they get into the hospital, you cannot get their details. So if they are empowered by some sort of IoT devices, where these kind of devices can share data autonomously and directly with your EHR system, you can get all the details, do the right diagnosis, provide them with the right treatment, and in a very efficient and effective manner, even without getting any data in the traditional way of doing that. That's time consuming and mostly inaccurate. So till now we have discussed three main domains. We have highlighted the areas, the domains, and the use cases where AI, robotics, and RPA can be implemented. Whether we are talking about machine learning, deep learning, electromechanical robots, robotics process automation, all of that can be contained within the umbrella of AI, as I mentioned earlier. Now let's look at the integration and the adaptation, how the AI can be integrated, what can be done to make sure that the AI can be utilized in the healthcare in the right manner. Here I will tackle some of the challenges, but from a positive perspective. I will tell what should be done in order to make sure that AI can be integrated successfully and we can employ it in a very effective manner. The first thing that I will discuss is data interoperability. Without having standardization for the data, the way we store data, the way we exchange data across different players within the healthcare ecosystem, then data cannot be shared, data cannot be integrated, predictive analytics cannot be done with a high precision and high confidence. So the first challenge and the first requirement, the first challenge is related to the data being able to be integrated, to be able to have systems able to talk to each other, to exchange data, ability to share data across different players within the ecosystem is one major thing that we need to have it, and we need to integrate it within our EHR systems to make sure that data is standardized across the country or across the globe. If we could, that would be perfect. Data can be shared easily in a very understandable manner across different entities within the healthcare. Data can be integrated for further analytics related to predictive modeling, predictive analytics, and recommendation engine. The second area is the workflow optimization. The workflow optimization, can be done mainly by utilizing RPA. We can optimize our workflow, making it more efficient, making it more effective, more productive, and more accurate by utilizing technologies, AI technologies such as robotics, process automation. The third aspect that I will look at is the ethical consideration. And this is very sensitive aspect and very important aspect. Nowadays, there are people pro AI and people against AI. People, they would see the value of utilizing AI in the healthcare, and people, they are scared. They believe that AI could not, for example, ensure the privacy or could compromise and jeopardize the privacy of the patient's data. So, for example, the MIT's Moral Machine project, they have opened a public discussion related AI, asking people whether they believe that AI utilization within the healthcare would be beneficial or not. They want to understand the perceptions of people. They want to get the public opinions about the utilization of AI. Some other people, they have some sort of doubts about that the AI could be biased. AI, we might teach the algorithm to be biased against certain ethnicity, certain gender, certain age. Can be biased? It could be biased. But is it ethical to have it biased? Can we do misjudgments? Can we always hang all the problems on the AI system while we know that the AI algorithm that we have built is biased? Is it ethical? Is it secured? Is it private to utilize AI within the healthcare? All these kind of concerns are under investigation and examination. People, they have different perceptions. But what I would say here, that we have to take privacy, have to take ethics, regulations into considerations whenever we are deploying AI within the healthcare. We cannot deploy any sort of AI without taking ethical framework into consideration. What's acceptable from religious perspective, from like traditions, from the cultural perspective. All these kinds of actions or these kinds of dimensions should be taken into consideration. There is no digital transformation happening just because of the technology. Technology is only one part. There are two other major angles for that golden triangle. We require the technology to fit the culture, to fit the capabilities, the skills of the people working within that healthcare organization, and also that technology should be aligned with the strategy of that healthcare organization or entity, and should be also utilized to enhance the business processes and the practices within the healthcare. So in order to have that golden triangle, that would require not only the technology, but the technology to be aligned with the culture, with the people's perceptions, thinking, values, norms, skills, capabilities, and to be utilized for the right purpose that is already aligned with their own strategies that would provide them with the best outcome and the value that they are looking for. This is the golden triangle that I'm talking about. Also, in radiology, there are some concerns in radiology that AI could be biased. AI could be utilized like for other reasons. It could be not transparent. Some of the AI systems now, especially in the deep learning, which utilize multi-layer neural network, we cannot justify the outcome. We know that the outcome is precise and accurate, but we cannot justify how the AI system reached that conclusion. So it's not explainable. So because of that, we'll talk about the future avenues, how now we are working on explainable AI, or the so-called XAI, to make it more explainable, to be able to justify the outcomes and the results we gain from the AI systems themselves. Because of that debate, you are part of the debate as well. So now we're gonna launch a poll where we're gonna ask you a question about your perceptions about the ethical aspects and ethical dimensions related to AI. I encourage each and every one to provide us with the answer, with the right answer based on your own perspective and based on your own way of thinking. Just please provide us, try to post your votes, and then we will show you the results later on. All right. So as we can see that the majority of you think that AI should be cautiously integrated into healthcare to ensure patient privacy and safety. So that means 13 out of 20, they believe that we have to make sure that we cautiously integrate AI within healthcare, because that might jeopardize the patient's privacy and safety. So there are concerns, and you are part of the community, and based on the results, concerns are there, and this proves exactly the concerns that I was talking about. Thank you for your engagements, and let's get back into the presentation, please. Jennifer, if you can hear me, my screen sharing is paused.
Dr. Mu'taz, we can see your screen.
Okay. All right, so it's only me. You can see the presentation?
Yes, we're able to see the presentation. If you want, you can stop sharing your screen and share it again, but now we can see it.
All right, Jennifer, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think think now we are again on the presentation page. All right. So we're done with the ethical consideration. We have highlighted this already. Thanks, Jennifer, for your help and for sharing the poll. The last thing, the fourth thing that I'll talk about is the training and adoption. Just like a few minutes ago, I was speaking about the golden triangle and how technology alone would never help you to transform digitally your business and your practices. You need to align that with the culture, skills, and capabilities of people, and also to make sure that you're doing that for the right benefit by aligning the technology with your own business objectives, your own expected outcomes. So in order to fully utilize and to improve your practices by utilizing AI, you have also to train and to continuously train and to upskill and reskill the workforce within the healthcare sector. They need to be able to utilize AI effectively. They need to gain the skills and the capabilities, the competences needed in order to utilize, for example, surgical robots. That would require a very professional training to be taken by the medical doctors and by the surgeons. And for example, the Intuitive Surgical Corporation is one of the corporations that's dedicated to provide medical doctors with such kind of training to make sure that they can utilize surgical robots and any other kind of robots effectively to enhance the practices of the healthcare. Also, one of the best references that I would refer to is a Cleveland Clinic. In Cleveland, they are continuously investing in their workforce in the healthcare ecosystem and the healthcare sector. They are sending them to professional trainings. They are continuously make sure that these people they have the right skills, competences, and capabilities that would allow them to employ AI in the right way and very effectively and very successfully. So the benefits that we would expect from such integration are in multiple domains. The first one definitely is improving accuracy and efficiency, whether this is related to the surgeries, whether this is related to the kind of treatment, whether this is related to the kind of diagnosis that we are conducting, whether this is related to the kind of data that we are collecting. So improving accuracy in the way we are conducting surgeries, we need to improve accuracy and efficiency in the way we collect, we integrate, and we share data. We need also to improve accuracy and efficiency whenever we are talking about personalized treatments, providing the right doses with the right medications for the right patients. All of that can be done or can be improved by utilizing AI in the healthcare sector. The second benefit, we are more patient-centric care. So by utilizing, for example, the virtual assistants, we are making the patients more engaged. We are also very closer to them. We are bridging any geographical gaps between the hospitals, clinics, medical centers, and any or underserved patients. We are making sure that they are getting the right treatment whenever they are located and very efficiently, very quickly, and promptly. The third one is future innovations. So whenever we are in the digital transformation phase, we continue investing in R&D and innovation and training, upskilling to make sure how we can do things better, how we can redefine the healthcare practices to make them more efficient, to make them more also practical. For example, we can, right now we do some sort of surgeries can be done using virtual reality and telepresence, where the assistance is coming from a very like a high consultant who's located in the western part of the world for the different surgeons doing or in the operations room in the Middle East. Could be done using telepresence, using virtual reality, and also augmented reality. We can utilize all of these AI technologies to provide or to bring innovations into the healthcare practices. All right. I know that already I have spent 1 hour, so I'll try to be quicker now. The practical steps, I believe, or what I suggest as practical steps for the integration, we cannot start without assessing the current system. So we have to make sure what kind of electronic healthcare system that we're having, whether it enjoys interoperability, whether it has some sort of standardization of data storage and data sharing before we start investing in any AI technology. The second stage, we have to identify use cases. We don't only start with the things that we know. We have to have a prioritization matrix based on technical feasibility, financial feasibility, time to value as suggested dimensions or criteria to be taken into consideration. And accordingly, we have to look at different domains. Where do we start? Do we start to utilize an AI in the diagnosis? Do we have challenges there? Can we add great value there? Is it a quick win? Can we afford it? Is it technically feasible? Do we have the data required for that? Is our EHR system compatible and can provide us with what's needed? We look at each and every one of these domains from a value perspective, from technical perspective, from also financial perspective, and from our own challenges, because we want to address what is important to us. So we need to have some sort of prioritization matrix before we start with the implementation and deployment of these use cases. Then we have to look at the data quality and accessibility. We have to make sure that data is of high quality and data accessible and available. Not only available, but also accessible, because some data might be residing in a governmental, with a governmental agency, and we don't have access to it, or with a third party, and we don't have access to it. So we have to look at the data quality and data accessibility. Without having data of high quality and without having the data to have it available, accessible, and of high quality in order to conduct any machine learning algorithm, for example. The fourth aspect, we have to make sure that we cannot do it alone. We have to collaborate with stakeholders. Medical doctors cannot do it alone. IT people, data scientists, machine learning developers, they cannot do it alone. We need the beauty of both. We need also the subject matter expertise, the domain experts, those having really a great knowledge when it comes to healthcare. And we need also the technical people, the data scientists, and the machine learning engineers, those having the knowledge and the expertise in machine learning and AI. We need to integrate these two types of knowledge together in order to get the best outcome. So no one can do it alone, neither data scientists or AI professionals, nor the medical doctors alone. The collaboration, the combination of both is required for successful implementation. Also, we have to select the appropriate AI technologies based on their affordability, based on their maturity, based on their precision and accuracy, and based on those meeting our own challenges. We have to integrate with EHR, the electronic health records. So we have to make sure that EHR is compatible, interoperable with the AI technology that we are adopting. And also, we have to implement the AI algorithms and to continuously improve after we train our people and get the right acceptance. Technology has no value if it's not used. The value comes only from use, and that's why we have to make sure that people would accept it from like values perspective, cultural perspective, and also to make sure that they have the right skills and competences to use it effectively. So we have to make sure that it's aligned with the organizational culture, with the hospital culture, with the clinic culture, with the medical center culture, and also to make sure that the workforce having the right skills to utilize it and to deploy it in the right manner. Any AI system that we are going to be deployed, we have to take scalability into consideration. So today, if it serves like those number of users, in the future, the number of users might expand, or the number of patients might expand, or the number of hospitals might expand. Sorry, or the the features and the capabilities within the system itself. We might need the new features, new capabilities. So we have to have an open design that is scalable. We make sure that we can always extend and expand the scope in terms of capacity, in terms of features, and also in terms of integration with other third-party systems and applications. We need also to keep monitor and improve. Whenever there's an AI system, we cannot leave it just by after deployment and implementation. We get a new data sources, so we need to improve it and update it. We get a new users, new requirements, we face new challenges. So always we have to maintain our AI system to make sure that it works effectively over time. My suggestion is to do that every 6 months. The best practice is to do it quarterly. So the least you can do is to do that once a year, but you have to continuously monitor and improve your existing system, and to make sure at the end of the day that you are adhering to the regulatory compliance, regulatory frameworks such as HIPAA and GDPR. You are doing the practice according to what's written there, and you do the reporting with a very transparent manner with the regulatory bodies. Finally, we have also to make sure that the patient is educated and involved. We have to get the feedback from the patients about these AI systems, because at the end of the day, the patient is our own customer, and we need to make sure that the patient is getting the right treatment. Their feedback and also their perceptions about the utilization of AI in any kind of practices within the healthcare should be recorded, taken into consideration in order to improve and to continuously improve our AI system accordingly. The partnerships and collaboration is an important aspect. As I told you earlier, no one can make a great innovation alone. Building an ecosystem, collaborating and partnering with the right entities, the right players in different domains, such as research and development, universities, AI companies, hospitals, like pharmaceutical companies. All of these stakeholders could join or formulate together an ecosystem, and they can start experimenting different ideas related to AI within the ecosystem. With their complementary knowledge, I believe they can innovate faster, quicker, and in a better approach than working in a solo manner, because solos rarely can succeed within this very pressurized and competitive environment. Now I would summarize all what I've said related to adaptive strategies for implementations. We have talked about the collaborative team, to have them with the clear roles coming from different backgrounds, from data science, AI, medical sector, pharmaceutical. Having a very effective and transparent communication along one of them is one of the dimensions we have to work on. It's not a recipe. These are the main areas where you have to focus to build a collaborative team if you want to have successful AI implementation, to ensure that you comply with the regulatory requirements all the time, and to have the right audits, regular assessment, to make sure that you are complying all the time with the regulatory requirements, and also managing the data security and privacy. That starts from the design phase. You have to have privacy by design, security by design, whether the data is stored, and also the data private security should be ensured in whether data in transit or in motion or stored within the data repositories. The benefits that we'll get related to improving patient outcomes, because we are becoming more patient-centric care. We're providing more patient-centric care. We're having more operational efficiency, streamlining our operations. That is related to the cost reduction of operations at the different medical entities, and also the optimization problems related to the different resources, whether these resources are the medical practitioners themselves, whether these are the resources, the nurses, any workforce within the healthcare, or could be the medications or any other kind of resources, including time in the through which we are making decisions or medical decisions. I will also in less than 2 minutes, I will try to give you our anticipation about future developments in healthcare. What will be what are the current research and development activities happening within the healthcare, and where the future might lead us. So now AI precision medicine is one of the key areas that people are working in to make sure that they can provide very personalized treatment plans. The remote monitoring and predictive healthcare using telepresence, augmented reality, and virtual reality is one of the areas integrated, and there's a lot of R&Ds and innovations happening in this area. Using the AI for drug discovery by pharmaceutical companies. There are many pharmaceutical companies, they are trying and now utilizing AI and machine learning to come up with the new drugs, with the new kind of ingredients within the drug, and to make sure that the side effects of those medications are at the minimum rate. Explainable AI, as I mentioned earlier, most of the AI systems now, we cannot justify why they have reached that particular results. So now we are working on an XAI to make sure that we can provide justifications, clarifications, and interpretations of the outcomes of different AI algorithms. This is one of the hot areas. NLPs and large language models to build a knowledge repository, to build a large language model only for healthcare, for the medical practitioners, is one of the areas where different interested people are investing in. Also, the robotic surgery. It's one of the areas where we have proved that AI can be very, very successful. And it's a very sensitive area also for medical practitioners, and it has very potential outcomes when it comes to recovery times, and also the increasing the survival potentials or rate of those patients going into surgeries. Blockchain has a potential to make sure that we can store and communicate data in a very secured manner. Blockchain main promises are transparency and security. And now we are trying to integrate blockchain within EHRs and for electronic healthcare record systems to make sure that data are stored in a very immutable manner, in a very secured manner. Nobody can change that data, and to have them exchanged and shared across different entities in a very secured fashion. The human augmented with AI, especially by utilizing the augmented reality, where we add virtual assistance to the human by like presenting the different kind of information using the virtual reality. This would help any medical doctor in the diagnosis and the surgery by augmenting their physical reality with the virtual reality, and blending the virtual reality with their physical reality as well. The ethics and governance, so many people are concerned, and also they are interested in building different ethical framework, different regulatory framework, and also compliance requirements for the healthcare when it comes to the utilization and the deployment of AI. And also there is some sort of R&Ds go in the direction of building collaborative AI, how universities, along with the pharmaceutical companies, with the hospitals, with the data scientists, they can formulate an ecosystem by which they can really innovate and come with the initiatives that might redefine the medical practices. This is actually the main trends in the future, and I believe that there are other aspects maybe that the future would bring to the reality, and we could see within the next few months, because now the cycle of innovation and the cycle through which we are redefining the way of doing things has been shorter, and now we are seeing each now and then, each a few days or few months, we are a big steps into the utilization of AI in different sectors and mainly the healthcare sector. I hope that you have enjoyed this webinar, and I hope that I have highlighted the major aspects to look into to get that would get your attention. If you believe that you are interested in one of these areas that have been already explained through this webinar, we can dig deeper to explain in details how this happened and how this can be implemented within a certain hospital or a certain medical center or a clinic. We are happy to have a one-to-one conversation with you. Just please book a consultation meeting with one of our experts, and we will be more than happy to cater ourselves to respond to your questions, to your queries, and to provide you with very detailed information in this regard. I can see that there are many questions, and so I will start with these questions. I don't know if Jennifer can handle the questions, and I will handle the answers. Jennifer?
Sure, Dr. Mu'taz. So our first question is, can AI help in anatomopathology labs detecting tumor cells?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we are utilizing the molecular data, the clinical trial data, and also the medical data coming from the literature. All that data together, we are trying to integrate it in order to personalize the treatments of cancers and also to be able to predict if there is any cells that are cancerous cells within the human body. If the data is available, if we have data about the patients themselves integrated with the data coming from the literature, from from the history of the some similar cases, we have them all integrated, then we will be able to predict with some sort of precision and accuracy. The precision and accuracy will be very much dependent on the quality of the data, the quantity of the data, and also the scale of the data, whether we are collecting and covering all aspects, all relevant aspects in the data collection course of action.
Dr. Mu'taz, we have Elan and Kamaruddin. They raised their hands. So if you guys want to ask your question live, you can go ahead. Just unmute yourselves and you can ask the question. Okay, meanwhile, we have also another question in the chat. How to ensure access for people who have difficulties accessing digital technology?
Yes, okay. This is a very nice and interesting question. Actually, there are some other experts, they are working on a human-computer interaction. There is one branch called HCI, Human-Computer Interaction. So in the HCI, they are developing different ways and mechanisms, even for like different disabilities, that would allow them to interact with the AI system. So the nowadays that can be done using their like gestures, if they can raise finger, hand, so different actions could be semantically explained in a particular manner based on the HCI configurations. So we have other experts in the HCI domain who are tackling and also addressing this important area. And thanks for this question. I enjoyed it. I like it.
Okay, we also have another question in the chat, and if Elan and Kamaruddin they want to ask the question, they can just unmute themselves. Now they have the permission. Another question, Dr. Mu'taz, are patients involved during the design phase of any AI technology?
I believe yes. At the end, yeah, in one of the slides, I have mentioned about the patient's involvement from the design phase and after the implementation to get their own feedback. At the end of the day, if the AI technology is not utilized and used by its intended users, and if this AI technology is intended to be utilized by patients, we have to have them at the early stages from the design phase, from the analysis and design phase. At the end of the day, we need them to accept it, to adopt it, and to utilize it. The technology only has a value when it is used by its intended users. So definitely yes.
Okay, if anyone has any question, you can just drop your question in the chat. We're just gonna wait 2 more minutes and we're gonna end the webinar since it's 8:30 in KSA. So yeah, thank you all for joining our webinar, and we hope that it was informative. Thank you so much, Dr. Mu'taz, for this insightful information. It was really helpful and it was really informative. The presentation was excellent, and you can also check the feedback of all the attendees in the chat box. And that's it for our webinar.